Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and we have a great show for you tonight as we have Matt Lay here. His beard and hair combination make me jealous. It's the greatest beard and hair combination I've ever had on Spaced Out Radio, and you'll see it firsthand here momentarily as we get into the paranormal and supernatural. Update on the audio. It's still going to be the same tonight. I'm going to be redoing all the audio this weekend, so that way everything will go just perfect for Monday. But we'll get through tonight and tomorrow, and we'll have a good time. All right, let's say hello to each and every one of you. We have Race Fan in the gold medal position, Laura Lobbs with a silver, Ann B with a nice bronze medal tonight, Chris 716, Willard Rice, welcome to SOR Chat, Michael Morris, good to see you. People of Earth, welcome to SOR Chat. The lovely and talented Kira is here. Kira will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Hi, Alyson Ford, Brown Dwarf. Daniel Sanders, welcome to SOR Chat. And there's Canna Chef Chris. Daniel Sanders, again, we'll say it twice because we can. Brandon Coast, how you doing? Mama Susan, Eternity Eternal, Bar Madison. Nice to have you all here. Tim Mothman and his goatee, two separate entities. T-Bone, my man, how are you? And who else is here? Hi, Cosmic Joe. Eva, good to see you again. Scrolling on down for our roll call tonight. Who else is joining us here? Jenny White Bear. We love you, Jenny. I hope you're having a great evening. Millennium, my man, thank you for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. W. David Page, welcome to the show tonight, and thank you for kicking off the Super Chat. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Chillgasm, purple-haired Pixie Lara, Michael Fontaine, nice to see you all. And who else is here? Buckethead the Soothsayer, how you doing, my man? Good to have you here. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Operation Shutdown, good to see you. Hi, Michael Gutierrez. Rick Gatlin, welcome to SOR Chat. Ozzy, good to see you. Okay, who's on Facebook tonight? Let's take a little peeky poo here. Oh, we have Sparkles, Susan Lawrence, Keyshawn, and Ozzy Ange. Nice to see you all. And who else is here? Did I mention how good Matt Lay's beard and hair combination is? Oh, it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. He's laughing in the background, but I'm telling you, I have a crush on his hair and beard combination. I do. There's no denying it. You wait and see. Stargazer, nice to see you. And Noble Patrick, Roger Blair, thank you for coming on in. And where are we here on roll card? Dizzy Effin Reed, how you doing? And who else is here? Just another guy named Harry. Digger Dog is back. How you doing, Digger? Nice to have you here. Can't wait to see you in Reno, my man. Kurt M. Majdi has returned. Majdi will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Dragonfly, nice to have you here. And who else is here? TETS, so Tets, good to see you. Aloha Dave, Robert Lamoth, Al Garay on Twitch. Nice to have you all here. Skip to Malou, good morning to you. and Susan Alloway. John Lamb, nice to have you both here. Can't wait to meet you in Reno, John. That's going to be exciting times. NHI, Sensational Sherry, good to have you both here. And we're caught up. Let's get the radio side started. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We're talking science of the paranormal. Matt Lay is here with us. We're going to have a great show coming up. We are in roll call, which means we are waiting the arrival of Bill WD-40 to lube us up for tonight's show, because you always want to go into a show nice and smooth. There's Bill. He's lubing it up as we speak. Deidre, how you doing? Good to see you. Hi, Maureen Green. And Aaron Baca, nice to have you here. We are close to the start of Spaced Out Radio tonight. So let's have some fun. Let's get this thing going, because I want all of you to remember that this is a good show. We have fun here. And don't forget to shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. You will be proud to wear our stuff in public. Hi, Audacious Amber. Nice to have you here. Do me a favor. Throw those horns up and let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight as we delve into the paranormal and supernatural. Matt Lay is here to discuss the science behind the paranormal. Then in hour number 3, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing returns. And then Robin Haynes has a cryptid report. It's Dave 101 night, and I'll have the weird news of the week. Oh, yeah, I'm pumped up about tonight. Matt Lay is a U.S. Air Force veteran who now spends his days teaching people the finer points of how to conduct a proper paranormal investigation. Living in beautiful Saskatchewan with his wife, Alyson, Matt created the Mudutu Effect a few years ago, which entails his over 35 years of investigation, technique, and metaphysical practices to contact the once living. And we love it when Matt comes on the show because it's like a really good schooling. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, be very happy because his hair and beard combination are phenomenal. All right, let's bring him in. Matt Lay, good to have you back on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. Miss you, man.
It's been a long time, but you know what? I was scrolling through Facebook just a little while ago, few weeks ago, and I'm like, damn it, I haven't had Matt on the show in a long time. Got to bring you on. And the one thing I love about you and your lovely wife, Alyson, is you have never, ever said no to coming on this show. It's always like, hey, can you come on? Yep. When? And it's, that's rare for somebody in a position like myself.
Oh, no. We enjoy it. It's just it's more of a reunion than anything.
Very true. Very true. How was your winter?
We had a few surprises, but for overall, it's actually been pretty nice around here for a change.
Is the snow melting?
Finally, yes. Yeah. But today, it couldn't make up its mind if it wanted to rain or snow, but,
Well, you know what? It's something that I know in my area, the snow is melting. We have way too little snow. Way too little snow this year. And I just hope that it rains like anything over the spring to kind of calm things down a little bit, and hopefully.
Definitely need it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I fully agree with you. And you got your start in the paranormal a long time ago.
Mhm.
We're almost going on 4 decades here, and you love this field, and you are one of the most passionate people that I know when it comes to talking about ghost spirits and trying to connect. Why has this subject always been so important to you, Matt?
I'm never happy with just an answer. I've always got a question to follow it. It's just my nature. And um I'm not I've always done the deep dive, you know, whether it was in the military or my work life or everything. I've always got to ask more questions. And and a lot of times it sends me down the proverbial rabbit hole, and I don't find an answer. But as long as I got another question to chase, I'm happy. I That's the difference between with investigations. Most people not necessarily looking for another answer; they're looking for another question.
Why is solving the afterlife question so important to you?
Mm. It's not necessarily the afterlife that intrigues me. It's the anomaly, the unknown, making it a known. It's not necessarily a focus on the afterlife because of my personal beliefs, um, but to look whether or not it's a spirit or whether it's multidimensional or whatever that aspect is. It's going down, following the breadcrumbs and trying to find the correlation and connecting the dots. So necessarily the afterlife, I wouldn't say that would be my primary focus, but I don't rule those out.
No, but it's very important to you. And here's the reason why I asked that question, Matt,
Mhm.
is because for a lot of paranormal teams out there, and I include myself in this, and I'm not a paranormal investigator, I call myself an enthusiast. Okay. And I think that's probably the best term that I can figure out for myself regarding the the expectations I have about
You
being in
read you read my book.
maybe, maybe, but I don't have expectations, but I do believe that with the tens of thousands of people in just North America alone, probably millions around the world who do participate in paranormal investigation, I do believe that at least 95% of them either A, don't have a clue of what they're doing like me, or B, have no understanding of what we're trying to solve, if anything, because there's two major questions that the majority of people on this planet have. Number one, is there life after death? And number two, is there life out there in the stars?
Mhm.
I think they're two universally extremely popular questions because we all want to know. We're here for a blink of an eye in time. We get ripped off in our lifetime.
That's true. That's true. And uh I've been working on these variety of different articles, and we can get to that later, but it does correlate exactly what you're saying. And when you're talking about the teams out there, there's a lot of there's a lot of enthusiast teams, and it's not that they don't know what they're doing. They're there for the purpose of that thrill. Some of them are. They want that jump scare. They want that roller coaster ride. But then there's the investigators that are, I'm going to call them investigators, the enthusiast investigators, kind of a oxymoron. But those are the ones that go out and they're looking, but they're not exactly sure because they're looking for the blinky lights. And then you got the investigators who are just over analyzing. I'm raising my hand on that. Well, we just go overboard with analyzing all the data and then go back and do it again and then do it again and over and over. So, and it's most of the time we send that data out to multiple people. Yes, a lot of times it gets shot down. It's got to be this, it's got to be that. But at the same time, it's important to get different perspectives.
It's very important to get different perspectives. And that's why I think there's a lot of brilliance out there regarding who's investigating, investigative technique, because your technique is going to be different than mine
Hmm.
and vice versa. And that's just the way it is with everybody that's out there. How do we start solving some of these mysteries? How do we get away from, using this as an entertainment factor and a scare factor? I mean, because I'm like anybody else, if I'm in a building and I get startled by a loud bang or anything, I like that. It makes it fun. That's what I'm there for.
And
But
I'm a,
I also,
oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, and I'm a bit of a practical joker on the investigation. So some of that jump scare may be actually me.
well, I haven't investigated with you yet, but I'm trying to. I'm hoping by the end of summer that I could figure out a way to get to your area to because I know you put on these monthly conferences or get-togethers, and I've always wanted to sit in with one with you and Alyson. So that is on my bucket list to do this year.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but the reason why I ask is okay. I'm like everybody else. I like a good scare. I
Mhm.
like I like that feeling. Does the paranormal really scare me? I would say no, but has it caught me off guard? Yes, it has. Okay. I've been attacked by ghosts. I've had fun with ghosts out there. So I'm going to ask you this important question. What is a ghost?
Mm. Depends on, ultimately, it depends on your perspective. If you're super religious, then you're going to come up with a dogmatic point of view. If you're looking at it from a perspective of an actual investigator, you really don't know. Your definition will change to energy. That's all you can define it as, because you have so many different factors. You know, the formula for time, the formula for light waves. You have a whole plethora of variables in there that when you define what a ghost is, um, it really comes down to an individual's perception of what their society, what their cultural beliefs are. Um, but to say that for me to sit here and tell you every single ghost is a spirit, a disembodied entity, or anything like that, I would be lying to you, um, based on the facts and the data that we've been able to accumulate. Now, that's not ruling out that there is that possibility, but I'm just saying that the vast majority of investigations and being able to isolate, I would prefer, I feel more comfortable in saying the concept of an apparition or a ghost is energy. And I will probably leave it at that, because there's so many different variables that that's the only constant.
Okay, so if that is the only constant then, and we're still trying to figure out what a ghost is, what is the difference then between a ghost and a spirit?
The same. I would throw them into the same category, because it becomes a potato thing. If you look up the definition of either or, one will, it's the same concept as sitting here. If you turn, saying the term soul, spirit, a lot of these are oriented around specific cultural and society beliefs. So if I was to sit here and say I have an entity, or I have a spirit, or I have a ghost, I'm basically saying the same thing. I'm just addressing to the individual culture or society that will accept that.
Okay, so it's basically potato, like you said.
Hmm.
Okay. So why do we ghost hunt? Why do we do this?
Well, it's the same reason in the mornings when you lose your keys. Yeah, you have that frustration factor. How did I lose my keys? It's no different. What's making this object move? What's making that noise? What's making, you want to know. All right. So everybody has that curious nature in them. It just depends on how far they want to go. Yeah, and I always, when in my lectures, when I'm doing the paranormal lecture and even on the occult, I turn around and I tell everybody losing your keys in the morning is the same identical thing as a paranormal investigation. You lose them, you don't know why, you left them there. Now, there's this grand mystery. Your mind wonders how in the world did they get moved? So you start analyzing, trying to figure out. Usually involves a few cuss words and then a lot of blaming. Same concept as a paranormal investigation. You go on an investigation, you can't figure it out. You start blaming it, you start pointing fingers, saying it's got to be this, it's got to be that. You're trying to justify an answer. And then you find your keys, which were literally sitting right in front of you the whole time. But that's the analogy I always give when I talk about a paranormal investigation. You got the two different people. One will try to overanalyze and try to figure out how in the world did they get moved? Who moved them? Somebody had to move them. I didn't move them. No, it just turns out you were being an idiot. But still, the point is that that's the analogy because you have to look at it not as this grand mystical thing that's going on. A lot of this is common items, and I can't wait to disclose because you know me, I love to do research and testing and got to have hard data, and I've got that coming up soon. But um, whenever you're doing this investigation, it's no different. You lost your keys, but you're trying to figure out what was that it just walked right by you. And now you're curious. Now you're coming up with an answer. Okay, yeah, some people will run out the front door, but still, there's that person that will sit here and try to figure out what was that walked by? Was it a car that drove by? Was it this? And, was it my dog that, ran by the door? You're trying to figure out those shadows out of the corner of your eye, and you're always trying to come up with an answer. That's human nature. Now, how far you want to go with it, that's up to the individual.
I can totally understand that, and it makes so much sense, almost too simple, because we always try to overcomplicate things
Hmm.
as we move on in this field. I mean, we've seen things grow. I mean, from using your own intuition to using things like K2 meters. Now we're into computers, AI, voice activated equipment, and, lights that go brightly shining in the night. You know, what makes a ghost hunter? What makes us special?
Um, we're looking for the response, really. At the end of the day, we're looking for a response. That's what the trigger, I think, is for any investigator. Is you're looking for any type of response. It doesn't matter if the lights flicker or anything like that. You want some type of response. So that's why we focus too much personally. My personal opinion is why we focus too much on blinky lights because we're just looking for a response. It's that's a response. I'm happy with it. Move on. Um,
I do
then you
have
get.
to interrupt you there, though,
Mhm.
because and don't throw a shoe at me through the feed here. But I run a ghost tour at the local museum.
Right.
I just spent like $900 on blinky lights for my tourists to come through because it looks cool. It does look cool when something anomalous happens. So don't hate me too much on that.
No, 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 no. And actually, most ghost tours you'll find K2 meters or things like that. Um, Ghost box and K2 meters and everything else because at I'm going to use the term tourists. Most tourists are novice level. They've only seen TV shows, and that's what they're comfortable with. That's what they know. Now, if I'm standing there and I'm giving them frequency data and things like that, I'm going to bore the crap out of them. This is not what I signed up for. I want blinky lights. So, no, I'm not going to throw a shoe at you.
Well, you know what, though? The people who come on our tour, a lot of them have a curiosity,
Mhm.
but a lot of them have had an experience that they don't know how to look at. Sure, there's the people, like last year we had this guy who was coming on in, and he's like, none of you investigators need to be here. None of you tour guides need to be here. I know what I'm doing. I've been watching paranormal television for 20 years, and I know how to get the ghosts out. Well, let me tell you, he got forewarned about his actions and almost got kicked off the tour. But there are those people out there that
Mhm.
think it's just a television show.
Well, and you bring up a very, very good point. I can't tell you how many teams that I have seen that use the format of the TV shows as their guidebook. This is how they do it, so this is how it must be done. And and then we sit down and we go through like the hard data and the information. Like for example, and during my lecture, I actually break down the K2. What does it actually do? What is its purpose? Where is the antenna on it? Everything, because I want people to understand the equipment all the way down to its smallest detail. And it's surprising, to find out how people are not even using the equipment properly or understand what it's even there for. All they're looking for is those 5 little lights to blink up.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I got a little bell that rings that's supposed to ring.
Mhm.
I've got a string, a 12-foot string of lights that you lay down on the ground, and hopefully they're going to light up. I've got you remember the old game Simon Says where you press the buttons on? Well, I got like a REM pod that's good that this thing's gonna light up like Simon Says, and I'm excited about that. What else did I get? Oh, I got a laser grid. Laser grids are cool.
Mhm. Yes.
I like the laser grid.
Especially if you got a lot of oomps, oomps, oomps to go with it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, last year in one of our buildings, it was really cool to actually see the shadows moving through the laser grid. That was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
It's and it's funny when you say that my brain immediately goes to um frequency anomalies, changing the light waves and bending the refraction, with the energy field. So, that's the first thought that comes to my mind. So, but that's the difference between different groups. Just because I do it with this way, and I'm gonna want to 100% put this out there for anyone listening. I am not an expert. There are no experts in this field. None. No one is an expert. We're all learning just like anybody else. But I'm not going to sit here and say you're doing it the wrong way, because I could quite possibly learn, even if it may be considered silly. I'll probably learn from it too. So that's my disclaimer for tonight.
We got 40 seconds left. I want to ask you one quick question.
Mhm.
Give me your 30-second answer, and if you want to carry it over from the break, you can. Do ghosts want us to communicate with them?
I think so. I absolutely do. Otherwise, the conversation wouldn't have started. It's no different than us sitting here having a chat. If you initiate a conversation, obviously you want to chat. So it's been too many situations.
Well, you know what? Let's leave it at that. And when we come back, we're going to start learning a little bit more about the science of the paranormal that Matt has discovered. It is almost 40 years of paranormal investigation around North America. We'll also hit him up to see if there's a difference between ghosts in the United States and ghosts in Canada now that he's, we're claiming him. We're claiming him as Canadian now. Him and Brock Lesnar, good Saskatchewan boys. Yeah, we're claiming them both here on Spaced Out Radio. We will be right back with the second half hour. Stay tuned, everybody. All right, we are clear.
Nice.
Yeah. That was a good first half hour, man.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm trying not
Remember,
to.
if you have questions for Matt, we will get to your questions in hour number 2. Please put your questions in capital letters. It is much easier for me to read because old Davey, my eyes are screwed. So, question from NHI: charging money to see The Walking Dead? Yeah, I charge money, and I donate all that money to the museum because the museum is nonprofit. And last year, me and my team were able to raise over $10,000 for our museum.
Nice.
Yeah. So, you know what? We donate it, and it goes to a good cause. Those buildings are from the 1850s or some of them older. And we really try to provide to help with that structure that they need. I mean, we've put new roofs. Our tour over the years has put new roofs on 5 of the buildings. Yeah, we bought the museum a brand new computer that they couldn't afford. And, we've done a lot of good things. Maji, I already got your question in already. So, yeah, I don't.
And it's a good topic to bring up as well, because there's those that,
did I pay the ghosts? No, I asked them to volunteer just like I do.
But there's people that take advantage of people, others when they do these tours and investigations. And I've seen it charging exuberant rates for the,
Oh, yeah. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's in the UFO world as well. I mean, you look at Dr. Stephen Greer. He's charged for a weekend of CE5 with him. He charges upwards of 3,500 American for a weekend. 3,500. Don't forget, that doesn't include your trip travel. Right? I don't know if it includes food or not. 3,500, and he'll get 50 to 100 people in a weekend, if not more.
We had someone doing investigations. I'm using that term very loosely because if I described it to you, you just lose your mind. But they were charging $250 for a 30-minute investigation, and literally 30 minutes, $250 while they sat in the truck smoking cigarettes and sent people into a room.
What? Where?
Oh, right here in Regina. No lie. They're not in business anymore because,
people caught on very quick.
Yeah. Well, we also publicized it on the radio station.
How is your little radio station going?
It's doing amazing. We're kind of blown up. It's doing great. So
now that's a digital station, right?
Correct. We're licensed for the internet, so we can play music and everything. So it's
nice.
Yeah, it's been going great. So we use it as a platform, for the Mudutu Effect, and I do a show called Cosmic Conversations where I just talk about space news and UFOs.
When are you going to put our show on there?
We need to.
Yeah, I don't mind. I would totally allow that.
Okay.
Yeah, if you guys want to use my show, just take it.
Take anything.
Hey, man, I eat up 3 hours of airtime a night.
We could slot you in. That's our peak time of listening is because we mostly get international listeners. So
yeah, I'm the morning show in Europe.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to chat about this. Get it piped in.
Oh, CB says we listen to Matt's radio lots. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yep.
Is that Cheryl?
I don't know. I like Joe's comment here. If I die and go to heaven and my dogs aren't there, I'm coming back here and haunting everybody. Like a good plan. I'll go with you. No. Just wait for me. I'll bring the kokanee beer. Joe lives in California, and I got him addicted to kokanee beer. Mm-hmm. All right, we got about 30 seconds. What a great show so far. Thank you, W. David Page and my man T-Bone for the super chats tonight. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. And a reminder to all of you that you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. You'll actually be proud to wear our clothing out in public more than just a garage sale. Here we go. And welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. I always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone tuning us in. And I want to remind all of you that if you miss most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go, second half hour with paranormal investigator and researcher Matt Lay out of the beautiful province of Saskatchewan, hanging out with us, talking about the science of the paranormal. Matt, for a lot of us, when we go on a ghost hunt, yeah, we have equipment. Yes, we hope that it scientifically goes beep, 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 or whatever it may do. Okay, but is there a true science to the paranormal?
No. There is a scientific method, but there is not a true science. So, yeah, there's two different things. Of course, scientific method is no different than alchemy, where you're going to be asking the questions, you're going to come up with your hypothesis, your theories, and, working your way through the process. But the science, no, I would not call it a science. I would call it a scientific method.
Okay, why would not call it a science?
Well, because there's, once again, going with so many variables. If you're looking at different investigators are looking for different things, basically, some are looking for multidimensional aspects. Some are looking for spirits. Some are looking for late Aunt Ruthie, every investigator has a different, goal in mind, a different answer they're looking for. So with that being said, you have so many different variables. There is no set science when you have so many different variables. Now, if you wanted to call each one of those variables a science, I guess you could, but it's still the approach. Most of the approaches of an investigation does not involve a scientific method. So if you're actually investigating, you're not really conducting science, you're conducting a scientific method, because you have so many different variables. I'm open to any possibility of what the actual investigation could evolve to. So if I wanted to say my method is a science, that would be a very rough one for me to claim. Now, if you ask me what my scientific method is, then I could outline that for you in any of the research documents that I create. But for me to sit here and say this one investigation is a haunting, this investigation, I believe, is multidimensional. Now you're going into quantum theory. This investigation is all natural phenomenon, but I haven't isolated it down. Now I'm going into studying, basics of Earth and the electromagnetic fields. So too many variables to call it a science.
I can understand where you're going with that. And, I think when you can't replicate the experiments, because you ask a ghost to come out on command, because if it's a person and you ask demandingly, if somebody were to ask me, I'd be like, screw you. I got things to do. I got to do my hair. I got to go shopping. I got to brush my teeth. I got a date tonight. I'm going to watch the hockey game. But the spirits are still, if we could believe that they are still living their lives, we don't know what they're doing on the other side. And we
Right.
can't replicate the experiment. We're lucky if we can replicate the experiment once,
Hmm.
maybe twice over time, not days, not weeks, not on command, over time.
Yep. Because you bring up a strong point. So I'm just going to use the term veil and other side very loosely. Whatever your interpretation is, that's up to you, the listener. But okay, so everything that we have, you just brought that up, time. Everything that we do time wise is based on a formula in this physical world. We don't know what the formula is on the other side and across the veil. We that formula could be distorted because it's based on velocity, distance. It's just look it up. Anyway, the concept of time and even with what we see can be distorted. Not to pick on a certain show with the 8 foot tall demon in the doorway, which is only 6 feet tall. We won't say the show's name. But this becomes a distortion of time. And so, like you said, to replicate and to do this on demand, it's very difficult to do because you don't know what that formula is across the veil or on the other side, whatever your definition is. I like to use the unknown. But so if you're looking at the physics of it, yeah, that's 100% accurate. You cannot replicate it. You can replicate it, but it takes quite a bit of time from our physical world because we don't know when that conjunction could happen across the other side.
Do the ghosts know?
Well, I'm assuming they know, based on their timeline, because we don't know what their timeline is. That's why it annoys me when people use like a ghost box and they ask a question, then they ask another question behind it, then they ask another question right behind it, because you have no concept of, by doing that, you're not allowing a response or an EVP or disembodied voice, whatever the case may be. You're not allowing enough time for a response, because I've seen this where you asked a question, you didn't get anything, you're on the recorder or whatnot. 4 hours later, something shows up on the recorder. How can that be? For them, it probably was immediate.
I don't get that. I don't get how that happens. That kind of trips me out a little bit.
It's just basic understanding that what we consider on our timeline could be completely different on the other side, the veil, or however you want to word it. That timeline obviously does not align with ours. So having that on demand response sometimes, sometimes, it's not all the time, but sometimes there's a delay in it. And it could be for them, or, whatever the case may be, could be an almost immediate response. But because there's that delay in that formula, because there's 3 factors in understanding time. And if any one of those is missing, then that variable creates that delay or speeds it up. How many times have you heard like a squeak?
That's my nose.
What's that?
That's my nose. My nose squeaks.
I was going to say my knees, but but be on investigation. You hear like this, and I'm using a real world example. Was out at Cowas's, and there was this squeak. I dismissed it as the floor and the chair or whatever the case. But I noticed there was a glitch in the video at the same time, which once again I dismissed because that can happen, you know. And then I will go back because it really eats at me. I have to know the why. And then I started slowing things down and realized it was actually a full message. It was in Cree. I had to get it translated, but sometimes that little squeak, how does audio come through? Time. It's all in timing. So your bit rate, everything has to be adjusted in order to listen to it. So just because we hear a squeak, or my favorite thing I do during the lecture, I um, I turned on all the lights. I was in Ontario doing a lecture on frequencies of the paranormal, and that was the primary focus. And we're in this dark room, and I play this recording. I said, "This is from an investigation, and I want you to think you're by yourself in a pitch black room, and this all you heard on this thing was this horrible growl sound. Of course, everybody's like demon, all these different things. They were labeling it right away. All it was a recording from an investigation. I did not lie, of my voice saying, "Hi, how are you?" So quick our perception will change it to something evil because we don't have a concept of the difference of timing.
I get that. The concept of time is very linear for the spirit world, whereas for us, I mean, let's face it, the older we get, the faster time goes.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You
Look at
know?
me.
Yeah. I remember when my hair was actually dark. When I started this show 10 years ago almost, my hair was dark, and now I'm a nice sizzling silver color. I guess that's the way to put it. But the idea behind the ghosts and the communication and everything, it's more than just, can you knock on this wall 3 times? Can you say hello to through this voice recorder? How do we get spirits to communicate?
It could be a wide variety. Detection of energy fields is really the best, one of the best ways. And I don't mean with the K2. K2 really focuses on 2 frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum is huge. A lot of people don't realize that. It's massive. So the K2 is only focusing in this little tiny little section. Well, you're kind of leaving this huge blind spot. So anything at static electricity, I mean, that's why I like Paranology's equipment. Yeah, they keep their costs low by, that was a shameless plug for them, but no endorsement. But I do like their research in static fields, which is a natural field of electricity that happens around us. And Paranologies is investigating different types of equipment that detects static fields. Now, granted, you walk by it, you set it off because guess what? You carry a static field, especially in the wintertime. So you can trigger a lot of these items. But the theory behind this is that we're focusing too much on what can be an outside influence versus what's a natural influence. So they're focusing more on DC and static fields. Alyson, my wife, has a focus on DC fields because she asked a simple question: why is it that cameras and recorders suddenly go dead and then there's paranormal activity? Well, that's DC voltage in those. It's not EMF, it's DC voltage in them. So simple question led to a lot of equipment being developed so that we can test these theories. But when you're talking about testing and detecting, if we turn our focus more into a broad spectrum energy field, I know it sounds like a pain in the butt with setting up antennas, setting up an oscilloscope, or whatever the case. We've done that, but it gives you so much information, and you can get so many responses. It's phenomenal.
Okay. What about orbs?
You know what my idea on orbs is.
By the way, your lovely wife Alyson set me up for that one.
Okay. Oh, I did a video not so long, well, several years ago, and I showed using a laser grid these orbs, and then I exposed it as incense smoke, because what is it? Incense smoke is actually dust particles. So I will say 99.5% of orbs is still that 0.5% that I go, what is that? That I can debunk and call dust particles. Now, my favorite one is a clear, defined face in an orb. Clear, defined face. I mean, you can see the features. It's not pareidolia. It's very defined. It was Alyson that found this. Because of the light refraction on the camera, there was a picture on a mantle. And because of the way the angle was hitting, that picture was actually showing up in that orb. It's not paranormal. It's just how your camera caught the light refraction. So, but I will have to say, I'm like, holy crap. We have to check this out. And we zoomed in on it. But, this is a good example of a paranormal investigation. Dave, how many times do you hear this? We zoomed in on this. We focused in on this. But all we had to do was step back and look at the whole room. So this case of looking at this one face, the first thing we did was zoom in on the face that was showing up in the orb. But it was Alyson that stepped back and looked at the whole room. And that's when she found the light refraction. Also, she's a photographer, so she was able to decipher that really quick. So the point here is that I'm not a fan of orbs. I consider it a contamination, personally.
Okay, but there are strange times with orbs, man. And I've seen scientists like Dr. Bob McGuire. We call him Science Bob around here.
Mm-hmm.
He has studied his photographs, his videos. I mean, this is a guy who has satellites with his name on them up in space.
Right.
And he can't figure out the orb phenomena. I mean, it's more, I do believe you're correct about the dust and light reflection on water or snowflakes or bugs or anything going on. But I do believe there's something more that we may be missing there.
That 0.5%, I will tell you that those ones I still can't to this day explain, where I see a traveling stream of energy. I'm going to call, I refuse to use the term orb because at the same time I detect an energy field change. But on camera, excuse me, I catch this pattern going through a wall and looping and coming back in and looping, going through this wall, like the wall didn't exist, but it was creating this big giant circle. So that fits in that 0.5 category. I cannot define it, but I actually got a measurement off of it. So that's what's important to me. If you show me a picture, a snapshot of a whole bunch of dust particles, right away I'll dismiss it. Now that's bit me in the butt a few times because I focused on the dust particle, not the pattern. Now, orbs, Alyson set me up on this big time. Okay, if I could go in here and I burn a whole bunch of incense, fill the room up, what am I going to catch on the cameras? Tons of orbs because it's reflections off of the dust particles of the incense. But with that being said, what are dust particles? They're statically charged. All of them are. So if there is an entity there, they're going to collect around it or be repelled by it. So that was one of our latest findings. We actually do use, I hate the term orbs, but we use dust particles from incense or natural dust or things like that to be able to track movement. It's way more reliable because it's a natural occurrence and it's already statically charged. So we'll either catch it either accumulating or being repelled by something. That's why also we have my brain just went on checking airflow. We have those set up around the room so that while we're doing this, we can also identify if it's airflow. So
3 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Matt Lay is discussing the science of paranormal here. If we don't know what a ghost is, if we don't know what a spirit is, how do we know, or why do we assume that we are talking to former people here?
I think that's a human nature factor because we don't know exactly that it's a person. There's been many times I've called EVPs in completely different languages, and we still make some people, but the idea, I think we're really reaching for the concept and hoping that it's human in nature. So the reason being is, can you imagine the investigator? He finds out that he's talking to, I don't know, we're just going to use the term loosely, entity. You have no idea what it is or anything. It's just communicating. It makes them feel better to put the label human on it.
Do you think we then can talk to our former loved ones?
Well, I'm not really much of a necromancer, but I know, lame joke. But I am into recycling. The It's a really detailed answer I have for that because we go back to the whole concept of time. Because yes, I think it's possible under the right conditions, but also depends. They may not want to talk. There's nothing against you. They have free will too. So just because I want to reach out to my grandmother doesn't mean she's going to answer me. And that's where I get a little annoyed that if you notice that little grimace about people saying, I'm going to contact your grandmother for you and everything else and take your $50 or $500, but I can do it no matter what. No, I have a problem with that.
Well, when we return on Spaced Out Radio with Matt Lay tonight, we are going to continue with Ghost Talk. We're going to get into some of his favorite ghost stories. We're also going to take audience questions in hour number 2 because, hey, we love getting the audience involved. So if you're in our YouTube channel, make sure you put your questions in capital letters. We'd greatly appreciate it. Spaced Out Radio continues hour number 2 next. My name is Dave Scott. We'll be right back. All right, my man, we are clear.
Sweet.
And I'm going to put you back in the green room here for a couple minutes. I'm just going to take a quick break, and then we'll continue.
Sweet. Yeah.
All right. Be right back, guys. All right, I am back. And got just a couple more minutes here. Let's add Matt back. What's happening, buddy?
I'm just reading all the comments in here.
You have fun?
Oh yeah, it's always a blast.
Oh, yeah. We love it when you're here, dude.
That's literally why you get such a quick response from us. Yep, be there, because it's so much fun. And you can tell I'm slightly passionate about this topic. So
Just slightly. Slightly.
Yeah, it was kind of that aha moment with the dust and how we had to go back and look at all of the footage and be like, we missed a lot.
What was Alyson saying?
she was saying that that was an aha moment for us about the dust, because we had to go back and review a whole bunch of footage, because when we realized that dust was actually one of the biggest tools that we had in our arsenal, and we've been dismissing it for so many years, that we had to go back and review a whole bunch of footage that we've been going, oh crap, it was a whole bunch of dust in here,
All right. We got about 30 seconds. I want to say a big thank you to T-Bone ×2, Dragonfly, and W. David Page for that great super chat. We very much appreciate the love and support. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store, where we do not have ugly swag, people. Yet you'll be proud to wear our clothing anywhere, and not just a garage sale or for painting or a flea market, or to run to Starbucks in your pajamas. Here we go. And welcome back to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Here is hour number 2. Thank you for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nailage. Nailage is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go again. Matt Lay, paranormal investigator, researcher of the science behind paranormal. Matt, thank you so much for being here again tonight.
It's always a hoot. Love it.
Always a hoot. Out of all the ghost investigations that you have done, there's always those ones that stick in your mind of just, wow, I can't believe that happened. What is your personal favorite ghost story of all time?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. The ones that I enjoyed the most is the one I learned the most from. And it seems most people want to go for the scare factor, but the ones that I learned the most from fascinate me, and I get so excited over them. For example, there was an investigation, and without elaborate detail on the investigation, we kept seeing all these different things, but the cameras never picked them up. And for years, I kept saying over and over, I'm guilty of this, and it's even in my book. If it didn't happen on camera, it didn't happen at all. And the problem is that cameras record at 29.7 frames per second, or 29.7 hertz. Our eyes see at, on average, 30 frames per second. That's why cameras record like that. But our brains can process up to 70 frames per second, 70 hertz. So a quick flash, a quick opportunity that you may see made you more valuable than the camera that you were using. That's why we converted all of our cameras to 120 frames per second. Um, because we realized at that point in time, once that research was done, we were missing so much, and we were also dismissing personal experiences. So, for anybody interested, I'm going to say it: the best tool in the arsenal is yourself. Yes, the blinky lights are great, but you are the most valuable tool in the arsenal. I'm not calling you a tool, Dave. I'm just saying. Yeah. No, but those are the kind of investigations that remember is the ones that I learned from. That squeak, where I learned that we needed to start watching the timing of the frequencies. That was out at Callisis. But one of my favorite ones, and I have to throw this one out there. We're doing an investigation outdoors. We wanted to do a controlled environment investigation outdoors, and we had separate people investigating outside of an area, and then we had cameras set up, equipment set up. We even had this thin wire run into the ground to measure any anomalies via oscilloscope. It's one of the small portable ones that we could mount to a pole, and it had an SD card in it so we could record. And this doesn't sound like a regular TV show, does it?
No.
So we did all this, and yeah, it was the personal experiences were through the roof. I mean, we just kept saying, this was great, and we kind of built our foundation for a lot of the research off of that that one investigation. But it was funny because after going back and reviewing the footage, suddenly there was this voice on one of the cameras. You could see us on the cameras walking away. And by the way, in order to do this, I had to set up so many relays for these cameras to be able to reach all the way down to this location. So all of a sudden, this voice comes through. We're way up on the hill walking away. We haven't come back to pick up the equipment yet. And Alyson is reviewing all the footage, and she's like, it just sounds like gibberish to me. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, well, it's a female's voice, and just sounds like gibberish. So she gave it to a friend of ours, the Callisis Reserve, Ivy. Hello, Ivy, if you're listening. And she was able to translate it. It was Old Cree, and it was kind of a farewell, kind of like the proverbial Southern, y'all come back now, you hear? But it was that was phenomenal for us because it made us feel good because any investigation you want to do, you want to go in respectful and leave respectful. And having a farewell like that, we ultimately did our job. So, it's those type of investigations where you have that overwhelming, not only evidence, but you learn something from it. Those are the ones that are really, really planted in my head. I can't, ever get rid of.
I don't blame you. Have you ever been attacked by a spirit or had a ghost try to harm you in any way?
No. And the reason I say that is, and you've heard me say this before, Dave, and I'm going to say it again for anybody who's never heard me say it. There's scarier things at Walmart late at night. There are, this is my approach, and has always been my approach. And because of this, I've never had any issues. Whether it works for everybody, that's up to the individual. But I said it a few minutes ago. I go into a location being very respectful. I'm coming into someone else's place. And it's ultimately I want to be respectful. I mean, if I'm coming into your house and I'm rearranging your furniture right in front of you and telling you, you better talk to me, there's going to be some problems, I'm sure, you know. I want to be respectful. And when I come into a place, me personally, I might, depending on the cultural background of that location, I might burn an incense before I go in. I might do a greeting in their traditional language. I want to feel welcomed. And whenever I go in, um, I've never had that issue. Now, and it's funny, I'm going to, before Allison pokes me in the back of the head, um, we have had situations where we come back from an investigation, 14 hours, been out all night. The next day, sure enough, the same apparition that we saw at the location shows up in the kitchen. And literally, Allison turns around and says, "This is my house. You have your house. Go home." And it's done. That's it. There was no running around banging drums and burning sage and everything else. It's a declaration of ownership. It's no different what they're going to do. So I think the problem is fear attracts fear and manifests fear. And if you're going into an investigation already scared and you're running on dogmatic points of views, if you're looking for that demon, it's going to be there waiting for you. And the thing is too many times we're looking for that negative aspect. At 16 years old, I ended up in the paper in Mobile, Alabama, of all places, because I challenged local authorities about, this is during the whole satanic panic thing, about going out and inducing fear and chasing fear, creating demons. People create demons in these environments, create the negative aspects, because you're going in scared, you're going in fearful. Then we've had this discussion before, Dave, and I've sent you that clip. Then you got paranormal investigators who prey on the clients. I'm going to use that term loosely because I don't look at these people as clients because I've never charged. That induce fear so badly that they're convinced there's a demon or something negative in their house. And every time something bad happens, and Dave's heard the recording before, and I don't want to go into detail about it, but I've got voicemails of a woman crying because she's convinced now, a paranormal team convinced her that there's a demon in her house without even being on location. They were in the States and she's in Canada, and they wanted to charge her $8,000, I think is what it was, to cleanse the house. So that type of environment creates, no matter what, a negative entity. Because what's that?
Like a tulpa.
Right. Exactly. We create. My very first investigation was not an entity. It was actually a self-manifestation where everybody was so fearful and so focused on a creature in their house, they were manifesting it. So that was my very first investigation in 1986, I think is what it was. I know it was in the 80s. Don't ask me to remember anything in the 80s. But the point here is that we were going in looking for an entity, and it turned out it was the family was actually creating it. So
Oh, I believe that. But do our minds really have the power to create creatures like that? Because there is the famous Philip experiment where I believe that was done at a university in Ontario, where they created this character Philip. They gave him a full name and age, the day he was born, the day he passed away, and they literally created this character. And all of a sudden, a haunting came out of that.
Mm-hmm. And that's 100%. I'm going to tell you a story about a true ghost story that still goes on today, has not been solved. It's called the Ghost Airman. And this is at Medina branch at the Lackland Air Force Base. Now, the Ghost Airman roamed the hallways late at night, and people would find, like water in the shower. They would find footsteps. They would find all these different things. And it's still, to this day, a legend. Do you know what that Ghost Airman was?
No.
It was me. It was
really?
literally me. I had to go into a night shift process, and that building was for day shift only. So whenever I would get up and roam around, so this legend actually evolved out of it, and it's still running today.
No kidding.
Dead serious. Anyway, that's where my call sign got to be called Phantom. But anyway, the point is that really quick, because something unusual, something odd is happening, it can manifest and become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it's a manifested reality. And we do that. And that's why I always say, when you go on an investigation, you have to be of a certain mindset. Yeah, you're going to be startled, whatnot. But if you're going in scared out of your mind already, we don't need you on an investigation. You're already in a contamination, because fear manifests fear. And one person, Dave, let's put all of us in a dark room. We can't see each other, whatnot, and one of us screams. Now, by the time this is all over, somebody's going into hysterics, because we can't see. And immediately, somebody got scared by something. So now you're going to immediately start imagining, with the imagination. Imagination sometimes is greater than knowledge. But with imagination, you start manifesting what could that have been. So the next person screams just because someone brushed against them. And it gets worse and worse and worse. By the time the lights come on, I guarantee you, somebody's been thrown, somebody's been attacked. It's fear manifests fear. So whenever we see somebody that's coming on an investigation with us, that's an energy in the room that we don't need. We usually tell them to stay in the command centers. Just, don't come in. And I will tell you a funny investigation story.
Please.
We had an investigator. She's an amazing individual, love her to death. But this location, I'm going to try to say this with a straight face. This location was really small. You don't want to send in a huge team to a small location. You're just adding more contaminations to the evidence. So we decided it was just going to be Alyson, myself, and this other investigator. She's relatively green, and she's still a little bit on the edge about odd things happening. And so we had her in the command center, and I'm talking to her. Now, backstory, this location. We were asked by the local paramedics to investigate a staging house. Now, for those that don't know, a staging house is one of these rural towns where they have a house reserved for paramedics or emergency response individuals. They have a place to stay. And they actually enjoy this practical joking entity. And they wanted us to come and investigate because they just want that validation that somebody else experiences it. And they literally write on the whiteboard, thanks for, the time, whatever, and then they go on the road. So we go into this location, and she's sitting on the couch, and I'm looking at the computer. Allison's all the way on the other side of the house doing a solo session. And I'm telling her about another investigation about this, how I brought up something and the lights flickered and whatnot. And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And all of a sudden, the lamp to my right turns off and then comes back on. Then the light in the living room turns off and comes back on. Then the light in the kitchen turns off, comes back on. She loses her mind, runs down the hallway to Mama Alyson, is what I'm going to call her at this point in time, because that's the way she treated her. And she's like, all she could hear was, "And Matt's telling me this, and the lights started doing this," and she's freaking out. The entity there at the building did its job. It heard this story and said, "You know what? I'm going to mess with that person that's scared already." And excuse me. So it was one of the most hilarious scenes, but at the same time, because she was scared already, it gave the environment an opportunity to, seize that opportunity to show itself. Now, most people, an investigator, an enthusiast would be like, "Yes."
Right.
But for me, I didn't, I'm going to quote Alyson. "That's awesome. Why didn't you have your cameras on?" That was quote unquote from Alyson, pointing her finger at us. Mama Alyson came out. So she's right. And it's actually, from an investigator standpoint, we had no evidence of it. All we had was hearsay, our conversation, and the personal account story after the fact of Alyson holding the camera, and you can see her pointing finger at the just past the lens. We should have been actually been recording the entire time. Lesson learned. We even have cameras pointing at the command center, because you never know when a paranormal situation would happen. But to get back to the point, a person's mentality can influence the environment. And like you said in that experiment, the more people and the more infectious it becomes, the more reality it becomes. And I mean, look at Schroeder's cat, things like that. You don't know what the final outcome is till you open the box. So, when we have a bunch of people sitting in a room and everybody's scared and they're just like, something's probably going to happen. Yeah.
I could totally get into that. I want to ask you, we got 90 seconds to go here. In my own house, over the last month or so, I go sit on my couch, relax, watch some TV, but out of the corner of my eye, through the doorway going down to the hall to the bedrooms, I will see figures moving across the doorway, both right to left and left to right.
Yep.
I've just kind of ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we get in control of what's happening in our own home?
Well, it depends what you want to call control. Acceptance is a form of control. We have the same concept here in the main building here. We literally look at that as a coexistence. We don't look at it as I need to control the environment. And you'll love this story, Dave. My mother-in-law comes into I normally wear a long trench coat, like an old frock coat. I know, I'm weird. But my mother-in-law saw me walk by her. She goes, "Ask Alyson, why didn't Matt say anything to me?" And she goes, "He's upstairs sleeping." Yeah, that wasn't me that walked by her. But our response is, that's the norm. There's a different level of controlling the environment and accepting what's normal.
All right. On that note, Matt, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because we have Matt Lay for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to get to some audience questions next, so stay tuned. Your questions coming up if you're in our YouTube audience watching us live. Spaced Out Radio with me, Dave Scott, your host of the most tinfoil, continues right after this. All right, brother, we're clear.
Nice.
Yeah. Like it's happening more and more frequently. And it's funny because about 3 weeks ago, I was watching television and all of a sudden my kitchen lights went out. TV is still on, has not flickered. Other lights in the house are on, but my kitchen lights went off. Just my kitchen lights. And then my main kitchen lights stayed on, but the secondary lights in my kitchen went off again. And it's very interesting.
Well, it's funny because I was talking about those lights. First thing I did was run and go and check to see if they were all on the same breaker, and they weren't. And because that was my first thought. Okay, yeah, but no, different breakers, different power, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I mean, we have one practical joker here in the building. We have a female that we'll hear sometimes. Alyson gets snuck up behind while she's making coffee. She thinks it's me. I'm not even down here. But we look at it as that's the norm. And what I can't stand, we had a psychic here in the building doing a little psychic fair. And immediately she's like, I need to move all these onto the light. I'm like, no, don't you even, this is our house. This is part of our family. This is the normal here. You're not moving anyone onto the light, whatever.
It's amazing how many so-called psychic people out there feel that it is their duty and their right to tell a ghost that it can't stick around. Because a lot of ghosts do want to stick around. This is what they know. This is what they like. Like, if I ever become a ghost, I'll tell you, there are places that I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave my favorite fishing hole. I don't want to leave certain areas where I've had experiences.
See, that's funny you should say that because a lot of people go to cemeteries to go investigate. I'm not going to be haunting a cemetery. I'm going to be haunting the beach. I'm going to be
a guy who loves the beach, who moves into the flat earth part of Canada, surrounded by wheat, canola, and curling stones.
Yes, that is true.
The old joke is you never lose your dog in Saskatchewan.
Yep.
Because you can always see it running away.
Absolutely.
I want to come check out your place.
Oh, yes. Yeah, Alyson just said we got to come and check out your place.
Well, like I've told you guys for years now, the door is open.
I know. I'm a workaholic.
I know. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
That
I have two areas. I have 2 areas to take you.
Oh, nice. She's already planning.
August is great because the mosquitoes are gone.
Where do I have to fly into?
Kamloops.
Kamloops. Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I think around August 16th.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Just do me a favor and let me know when your flights are booked, because then I will make sure that we're picking you up at the airport.
Okay.
In the same house for 10 years. First 5 years, had a lot of paranormal experiences, but the last.
I'll get to that question once we get going, Matt. Look at that beard, people. Look at that gorgeous beard.
Thought you were going to lose your mind when I cut it.
I did lose my mind. That's why I didn't talk to you for a while. I had to get over my anger.
It's almost back to where it was. Almost.
I know. Kira is going to come. She says, I will visit in August too. Absolutely, Kira. You're invited. You're always invited, you and Mark. Love you guys. Oh, by the way, Kira, you didn't hear my announcement last night. I'm down 13 pounds. Weighed myself yesterday. I'm down 13 pounds. That was before my workout yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yes, Pixie Lar, it is beard envy. No, Trudeau is not made up of a ghost. He's made up of assholes. All right. Big thank you to Dutch Hank, T-Bone ×2, Dragonfly, and W. David Page. Appreciate the love and support. And go shopping in our Spaced Out Radio store. I shouldn't have said that under these new Bill C-63. I could get kicked off the air now.
Yeah.
Here we go, everybody. Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight as we enter the second half of tonight's show. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. I want to remind each and every one of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go again. Matt Lay is here as we look at the science and research into the paranormal. Matt, thank you for being here with us. And we're going to get started right off the bat, my friend, with some audience questions. Yeah, let's get right to it. Majdi is asking you, Matt, have you ever seen a UFO during your years of service in the U.S. Air Force?
I will give you actually to answer the question. No, not during my years of service. Before, yes, and after, yes, but I will tell you this: during basic training, we had different classes and whatnot, and the instructor said, "quote unquote," before anybody asks, if you're wondering about UFOs and their classifications, I'm not allowed to say it. I'll let you reach your own conclusion. So. But before, yes, I've seen the triangle quite frequently along the Gulf Coast. I grew up along the Gulf Coast. I don't think you can hear the accent. But up here, Alyson's had encounters. Yeah, it's before and after, yes. During the military, no. I never saw anything that I could not right away say that it was military.
Yeah. Very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go to Bobbert, who's asking, what is your goal as a ghost, Dave? Oh. Oh, my goodness. Let's just say that if certain people are alive or dead, I'm going to torture the hell out of them. Dave's got a redemption list that's about 1.5 miles long. We're going to make sure of that. Matt, you got a list? Your redemption.
We all. If you don't have a list, you didn't live a good life.
Right. Matt, you and I will team up on the other side, and let's just go cause some hauntings. How about that?
That sounds like a blast.
Let's do it. I'm pumped up now. Tets is asking, do they, the spirits, need us to communicate, Matt?
I think that's a yes and no answer. The reason being is because we naturally emit energy, and it gives that opportunity. So the no, I think there's ample enough energy in the environment, especially with some of the recent testing that we've done, um, that allows that to happen. Versus also if we have that natural energy, enough people in the room with the right mindset, that helps create it as well.
All right. I just have to do something here, and our radio audience won't understand. But one of our listeners, Human Carl, had to have a 6-hour surgery
Oh,
today.
jeepers.
6 hours. And he came into the chat room last night. We sent him a bunch of love and prayers. And now he's saying, woohoo, everything is successful. But my question is, how do we know? How do we know this isn't his ghost typing this out? I need to know if it's Human Carl or Human Ghost Carl. I need to know. This is going to bug the hell out of me all night now.
I will not answer that.
Oh.
Ghost Carl.
Yes. Anyways, let's get to another question as I ponder that one for a while. George is asking, are there groups of spirits ruled or guided by a spirit?
It sounds like goetic practice there. And to answer that question, it depends on your individual path. Yeah, it really, really depends on the individual path that you're on. You can believe, and there's several groups that believe that spirits are ruled by select groups. I posted in the chat a link to one of my articles on goetic practices. So, and for those that don't know, look it up. It's a very old practice. And once again, this goes back to cultural and society beliefs. And when they're ruled or guided by a spirit, usually that's along the lines of a goetic practice.
All right, let's move on to another question here. This is from Super Crazy. Which movies about ghosts do you feel do a good job representing them realistically? That's a great question.
It is a good question. And I honestly, I'm like flipping through the Rolodex in my head because I love ghost movies. Others was pretty good. But really struggling with that one. Yeah, I would think Others, because the whole time they thought that was the reality, that was going on, and there was no other reality. Yeah, I have to agree with Alyson. She's in the background poking me. Others.
All right. I hope that answers the question. Let's go to T-Bone. Matt, what's your opinion of the SLS camera?
Well, I prefer that over anything, even though I do use a wide variety of cameras. But once again, I'm going to go back to frame rate. You have to be able to adjust that frame rate. I love the idea of SLS cameras because you can adjust the exposure time more frequently. I mean, granted, a cell phone nowadays, you can do that, but I hate the pictures that come off of cell phones for investigations. To explain why, just me putting this in the pocket, I'm putting an anomaly on the lens. Unless you're planning on cleaning it every single time, you're way more careful with an SLS camera. And also I like the aspect of having the variety of lenses. The only thing I don't like is when you set it to auto. That's where I have a problem with SLS cameras. When people set them to auto, and the reason being is because they're trying to zoom in, zoom out, trying to adjust, and it's great if you're going to have it stationary, and you can almost use it as an indicator that there's something going on because it's trying to zoom back and forth on something that you can't identify. But I prefer them when you do the manual settings, and then you do a variety of footages based off of those settings. Yeah.
Okay. And the stick figures in the SLS camera? You-
Sorry. I'm thinking about different camera. You're talking about the Kinect cameras. Negative. Very negative about them. Sorry, I went on a tangent about the other cameras.
okay.
The reason I was very hardcore for them until I was able to debunk a large portion of the stick figures. And I can't say all, but a large portion. Anytime you moving it, if you're going to use it, mount it. Don't move it. Don't walk around with it like I did. Every video you see of me, you'll see me carrying it like an idiot. Because any type of light movement is going to detect that as a person. If you're going to use it, highly recommend mounting it to a location, and don't move it, because every time you move it, you're changing the angle of light. And if every time you change that angle of light, you're creating a stick figure that's going to move.
That's kind of cool. I never knew that. Let's move over to NHI here. I ask all guests in this field, have we learned anything through our communications?
No. No. The answer is another yes, no answer. The only thing we've learned, because I'm a data freak, is numbers. Now, you ask me if I can tell you when they died or how they died or what's their name. Honestly, I could care less. I'm a data person. I want numbers. I want the frequencies. I want that type of information. With that being said, yes. Have we learned anything how to communicate? No, we're still learning. Once again, I'm no expert. There are no experts in this field. The only thing that we're learning is how to ask the proper questions. That's all we're learning at this point in time.
What are some of those proper questions?
What frequency is the right frequency of that location? Because just because I do an investigation and I come up with a frequency doesn't mean that for same frequency is going to be applicable at every location. We have to eliminate that concept. Dave, how many times do we see this? This is the product to use because it worked for me at this location. We hear it all the time. The problem is that worked for that location, not for others. No one tested it in another location. You have to understand that when we're asking these questions, we have to ask them for each and every location. No location is the same, just no different than me and you. We're all different people. We celebrate our individuality. It's the same thing with the locations. Everything is different energies. Everything is different frequencies. So if we learned anything from this, we learned that every location we go to, one, respect. Two, is to ask the right questions by accepting that that location is different. It's its own environment. The actual question, you won't know till you get there.
Moving on, T-Bone is asking, Matt, have you ever been attacked by a ghost?
No, I have not. I'm trying to think all the way back on the concept of my general beliefs and practice, and even trying to throw that into the category, and I would say no.
All right, let's continue on. Follow up from T-Bone. Have you ever had attachments?
No, I'm a firm believer that if you're ever in a situation where you're treating without fear, and I mean, this has worked for me. That's all I can say on this. without fear and being respectful of the location, then you're, and also I don't worry about attachments. Um, a lot of people actually go, I hate to make fun of a friend of mine, but I'm going to make fun of him. He will wear every charm known to mankind to keep attachments away. He's had me make him several, but that fear alone actually attracts. So you have to go into these locations almost like a declaration. I am my own self. You are your own self. This is your environment. I am your guest. And that acceptance, I've never had any form of attachment.
All right, we got 9 minutes. We got a bunch of questions we need to burn through here. And we already asked you about orbs. Let's see. Super Crazy is asking, can we catch a ghost like Ghostbusters?
No, but I can catch a cold like you've never seen before. I can imagine. You know what? I'm not going to say no, but I don't know how.
All right, let's go to Maureen. I've lived in the same house for 10 years. First 5 years, I had a lot of paranormal experiences, but the last 5, nothing. I'm okay with that, but any ideas why it just stopped?
Maybe it didn't. A lot of times we get acclimated to our environment, and those occurrences could be still going on. You're just not aware of it because you become acclimated to it. It's no different than somebody. We make incense here, the Mudutu Effect. Shameless plug, but people come into this location. We don't smell it anymore, but people come in going, "Oh my gosh, what is that smell?" It's we become acclimated to the smell. I know it's a weird analogy, but that's what I firmly believe, that activity actually never slowed down. It's just that you become acclimated to that the normality of it. Just like I was talking about the movement around here in the building. We just accept it.
All right, let's continue on. Let's go to Michael. Ever had a spirit hijack you or anyone else you work with? If so, what happened?
I'm not really too certain on that question. You mean like possession is what?
Basically possession, yeah.
No, I'm not. I don't believe in possession. I'm not because that's a dogmatic point of view, and I don't look at everything in a dogmatic point of view. So never had that happen.
Kason is asking, have you ever visited the Witch's Tower? I think it's at San Diego near Whaley House.
No, I have not. Actually, a lot of people call this place the Witch's Tower. Does that help?
Yeah, the Canadian one.
Yeah.
Brandon wants to know, do you think ghosts are dead people stuck around or leftovers like an AI version of the person?
Wow, that just opened up an entire show. We've actually just been discussing something similar to that. I hate to say this. I would love to answer that question, but that is a long answer. That is an entire show to itself. Short answer, I don't think all ghosts are dead people, personally. This is just my personal opinion. Everybody's got their own point of view, and I respect that. A lot of times, my theories go around the realm of quantum physics and multidimensional aspects. So, once again, I could go on for hours on this question, but thank you so much, Brandon, for this question. But you struck a nerve with me on this one.
Let's go to Dizzy. Sorry if somebody already asked, but any experience with fairies, elementals?
Yes. There it is. Taos is First Nation. And I was so fascinated by what I was seeing. I did not once think about turning on the camera. But short version of that, because of time, yes. And that's where I actually learned that FAFO, and the elemental concept, is cross-cultural platform. Every culture's got a name for them. And that's actually an exciting question. But thank you so much for asking that. But yes, I have experienced that, and it was one of the most exciting times for me.
Dorina would like to know, what is the frequency of ghost seeing?
Oh, that's the frequency. My brain immediately goes to an actual number. Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's up to the individual. Depends how open-minded they are. The apparitions or the events that could happen, I think it's way more frequent than people are willing to accept.
Maureen would like to know, are there any decent paranormal apps you can download on your phone, or are they all crap?
I hate apps. It's a personal prejudice. I've played. I get them all the time. People send them to me all the time. And there was one that I was like, "Hey, this is actually." Oh, never mind. I'm not a fan of them. To me, it's too many variables to be able to say it's legit.
I would trust a pendulum over an app.
I agree, or a compass.
Yes. What about dowsing rods?
Oh yes, I'm a firm believer in dowsing rods.
Love them. Love them. Dorina, again, have you heard about this new technology where the unseen can be photographed?
Yeah, actually, it's not new technology. It's been around since I think the 17th or 18th century, whatever. But anyway, it's I haven't tested it, so I can't really, unless I test it and have physical data. I will never ever endorse or condemn or whatnot. Anyway, I've never played with it, but yes, I agree.
Laura would like to know, do you work with psychic mediums, and can you give a positive example of your experience? We got 3 minutes to go.
No, I can't. I cannot. I have tried, but I can't give you a positive experience. There's only one psychic that I've ever dealt with, and she was spot on every single time. But just like paranormal investigators, the vast majority are not legit. You might find that 1% or that 5% that is good. So
when you guys come here, I'm going to introduce you to Samantha Mowat.
Okay.
She is 100% with me.
Nice.
Or as close to 100% as possible.
Here in Saskatchewan, I know of 3.
Yeah.
That's it.
Let's sneak in one more. Kaysen would like to know, why is sage considered so effective in cleansing?
It's funny. I actually do an entire lecture on herbs and whatnot. And once again, depends on your culture, what you personally believe. A lot of that comes from media hype for sage, because if you actually look up the different types of herbs for cleansing and whatnot, usually sage is not listed as the only one. It's about 30 different ones listed. So really, it's what you feel comfortable with. You feel that sage works for you, do it. But also remember, there is a whole plethora of other herbs. That link I posted, there's an article as well about different herbs. So keep in mind, when you're burning certain herbs, there's also hazard effects that could be involved with that. So,
Matt, let everybody know where they can find more information about you and Alyson, your radio show, and everything.
Oh my gosh. Cosmos Astrum Radio is our radio station. Multiple platforms are on it. We're a multi-path radio station. CosmosAstrumRadio.ca, or download the app if you're on Google. It's all free. We don't charge. Mudutu.ca. I'm trying to think of all that. We're all over the place. We run a festival in September called Pagan Pride. Sphere Social. I don't even know where to begin. We're on YouTube. Come just join us on the radio station. Listen to some tunes. We're licensed, so we play music. If you're a musician, send us your music. But we we provide all these platforms. What's the ultimate thing in paranormal investigations?
All right, Matt Lay, everybody. Thank you for coming on in again, Matt. Coming up in hour 3, we got the start with Steve Stockton. Then Robin Haynes will be here for the Cryptid Report. Spaced Out Radio continues with the final hour right after this. Great job, Matt.
Oh, thank you.
That was
I
awesome.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, let's try and hook up this weekend so that way we can talk about a road trip.
Yeah. But on a side note,
Yeah.
I have finally cracked the how many times you hear the story of there's limestone nearby, there's water running nearby, it's causing energy, whatnot. Finally, I literally have tubs of different materials out here, and I have hardcore measurements of the Ys.
Nice.
So
nice. Well, let's talk soon, buddy.
Yes,
Enjoy your
indeed.
day. Thank you
so
Alyson,
much.
as well.
I will.
Appreciate and love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Love you too, man.
Take care. Matt Lay, everybody. How awesome was that? That bearded hair combination, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. I'll be right back. Stay tuned. Okay, I am back. Excuse me. Says, all right, well, we'll send you another one. See if that works. All right. Well, that's nice, Kason. Always appreciate your nude butt on the screen. Hey, guys, remember you have until April 12th to get your VIP tickets for the SOR fan party. We want to make sure that all of you are there and getting your tickets nice and easily, because I have to get T-shirts for the VIP party and the swag bags, and I want to make sure that all of you guys are able to get your T-shirts. info@spacedoutradio.com if you haven't already. info@spacedoutradio.com. Thank you, Human Carl, Dutch Hank, T-Bone ×2, Dragonfly, and W. David Page for the super chats. Here we go with hour 3. And welcome back to hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Always appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nailage. Nailage is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the night where we say hello to Steve Stockton from Among the Missing and another creepy story.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Among the Missing YouTube channel on Spaced Out Radio. I'm Steve Stockton, and I'm about to take you on an unbelievable journey of people just like you. Their stories and encounters will haunt us on Among the Missing. On April 20, 2014, 21-year-old Melanie Marie James left her home in Farmington, New Mexico to search for a job and never returned. According to her mother, Layla Melman, Melanie was walking down the street when she disappeared. Melanie was known for her friendly and outgoing personality, which made it easy for her to make friends with everyone. She was also affectionately described as a goofball and was always lively and bright. According to Melanie's sister, the last confirmed sighting of Melanie was near McKinley Elementary School, located on 20th Street and Butler Avenue in Farmington. Melanie's sister saw her in the company of an unidentified man. Her sister did not recognize the man, and Melanie was no longer there when she circled back to the school. When Melanie failed to return home, her mother immediately called and texted her. It wasn't usual for Melanie to disappear for a few days without any communication, so her mother became worried. Melanie always got back in contact with her family after a few hours or day. This time, something felt off. Layla's motherly instincts kicked into overdrive, and after failing to reach her daughter or find her in the community, she sought the assistance of the Farmington Police Department. In an interview with the Durango Herald, Layla recounted how the on-duty police officer declined to take the report since Melanie had not been missing for more than 48 hours. Layla informed the officer that it had already been 2 days since she had last seen or heard from her daughter, but the officer still refused to file the report. According to Layla, the officer said, quote, "The clock starts from the time you walk into my office," end quote. Frustrated, Layla had to wait 2 more days before involving the Farmington PD. Melanie's loved ones and community members searched anxiously for her while waiting for the authorities. However, nothing was found during the search. Later in the investigation, someone handed in a bag, which possibly belonged to Melanie, to the Farmington Police Department. The bag was spattered with what appeared to be bloodstains and contained 2 phones and a letter addressed to Melanie. Whether the bag was analyzed or simply discarded and stored in the evidence locker is unclear. In 2015, there was a potential sighting of Melanie, but the location is unknown. Witnesses claimed to have seen her at a family dollar store in September of that year. However, very little information is available about this sighting, and Melanie's case remains unsolved. Melanie Marie James is described as a Native American female with brown hair and brown eyes, standing 5'1" to 5'2" tall and weighing between 115 and 120 pounds. She has a spade tattoo on her right pointer finger knuckle and was last seen wearing a blue bandana shirt, light blue jeans, and black sneakers.
Thank you, Steve Stockton from Among the Missing on YouTube for another creepy missing person story. If you want to hear more just like that, head on over to youtube.com/Among the Missing, and Steve will get right to them as we speak, and they're all free for you to listen to. From the missing to the mysterious, let's head to the cryptid report. Here's Robin Haynes.
Hey, sweetie, how you doing?
I am awesome. Always love the fact that we get to rock into you each week here.
Great. Trying to.
Can you hear us, Robin?
Yep. Okay, now let's try it. There we go.
All right. Can you hear us now?
Yep, now I can. How are you?
I am great. I am absolutely great, feeling wonderful. And knowing that in 6 weeks, I'm going to be traveling down to see you.
I know. I'm so excited. You're going to be fantastic. And that's going to be at the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference, the 26th and 27th of April. And it's sponsored by Jerry Spady Car Dealership in Hastings, Nebraska, Chevrolet. So we're pretty excited about that. And we're all going to be at the Best Western Inn and Suites right by Fauner Park, which is where the event's at. So we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. I
cannot wait to get there. I can't wait
to
see
it's actually this year we moved it to Grand Island. It's the first year we've had it in Grand Island. And we've got it this huge event center. So there's all kinds of stuff that's going to go on. We've got some great vendors, amazing speakers. So, yeah, I'm excited. And today, just FYI for everybody, the energy shift started today. So if anybody's noticing any change in their cryptids, maybe they're feeling either really happy, really sad, mood swings, just feel like things are in edge and maybe not normal, that is why. There's nothing wrong with you. The energy shift started today. And there's been certain pockets of areas where people have gotten attacked, not by cryptids, but by different entities that are not overly nice. And then there's other pockets that it's been very smooth sailing and very calm. So it just depends on where you're at. So the next couple of days are going to be a little bit wobbly, and then it's going to come in 3 shifts. We've got today's, or the 14th that started, and then we've got it April 8th, and it looks like between the night and the morning of the 13th of April into the morning of the 14th. So just kind of FYI, everybody. And we had some really amazing people that were watching the show on Spaced Out Radio, as well as World Bigfoot Central, and they contacted me and I taught them the energy work. So they've been helping as well. So for all the energy workers out there, it's greatly appreciated.
Love it. And I'm so excited to be there. I'm going to share my experiences. I got to build a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, it's going to be amazing, Dave. You're going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And you're coming up. You'll be speaking on Saturday. I've been doing the schedule. So you'll be on Saturday. So that'll be great. They'll give you time to watch the conference on Friday and enjoy that and check out the lay of the land. And then you'll be speaking Saturday.
Excellent. I look forward to it. Very much look forward to it. And let's get into some cryptids because we only have you until the bottom of the hour here,
Yeah.
and there's so many more people here out there right now who are not just seeing Dogman and Bigfoot. They are seeing a real combination change of other cryptids starting to appear. Have you noticed this as well?
Yeah, and that has partly to do with this energy shift. This energy shift is making things come into the next dimension with a higher frequency and a higher energy. All these things are frequency and energy based, and so they're more active now. This is the spiritual war, as well as, the whole good versus evil thing, but it's a matter of the dark stuff wants a lower frequency and energy, the light stuff wants the higher. So as we are raising that frequency and energy, the cryptids are much more active, and that brings out all these other cryptids that people really haven't seen before.
So what kind of cryptids are people seeing?
The ones that I've noticed a lot of people are seeing a lot more, the cat people, those seems to be really pronounced. There's another one that several people, including myself, has seen, and we don't know what it's called. It is like the size of a cow, has ears like a rabbit and a head like a deer. And it's actually quite large. And it seems very peaceful in nature. It's not bothering anybody. It's just existing. Now, as far as the Sasquatch go, any type of a cryptid that doesn't have a name, they call them a kaya. And that translates in their world from thee that walks the earth that has no name. So they put it under kind of like that blanket title of Micaiah because nobody knows what to call these things. But there's been a lot of very, very strange things out there that people are encountering, and they really don't have any idea what they are, where they came from. You get a lot of things that are generated from the ETs right now. They seem to be really into dropping things off on our planet. Government does a few things and then tosses them out to the side as well.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So are they more creatures that are hanging out in water, or are they in the forests, or are they on
I'm finding more,
flatlands?
I'm getting more people that are talking about the forest more than anywhere else. Some in the the lowlands, but I've only heard of one or two in the water. I really haven't heard of, I'm not saying they're not having them there. I'm just saying that they're not as pronounced as perhaps in the woods. People are out there and they're looking for Sasquatch or they're looking for the Dogman, and they're out in the woods, and what they're encountering are things that are just even more unexplainable.
Right. I can understand that. Are they dangerous, these new cryptids that are coming
Some of
out?
them are. Some of them you have to be really careful with. There's one that I don't even know what the name of this thing is. It was the one that I was just describing to you. That thing will go, well, no, this one it's big. It's sloped back like a hyena, and its head actually sits back in the shoulder blades where it looks almost like it's headless, and it's not. But there's like 12 inches of bone approximately on either side to protect it. And it's actually quite dangerous. According to the Sasquatch, if you even track these things or try to follow it, they'll turn on you in a heartbeat. I've had several witnesses that have seen them. They've seen them with babies. So obviously there's a breeding population somewhere. And they've got like the slope back like a hyena does. It's really, really odd. Very odd. Like I said, the ones that have the rabbit ears and the deer head, they seem to be really passive. They aren't bothering anybody that I've seen or even heard. Anybody that's seen those have not said that they've been aggressive. But this other one, if you leave it alone, it will stay away from you. But if you get curious about it and you're trying to watch it or have any type of contact at all, or even try to track it, it can get very violent.
Okay. So the fact that there are these creatures that are getting violent, have we had people attacked by them?
I've not heard of an attack. I was warned about them from the Sasquatch about how dangerous that one could be. The ones that people that I've talked to that are actual witnesses that have seen it, they said that it was so creepy looking, they didn't even try to follow it. They didn't even want anything to do with it. One had passed in front of someone's car and they caught it with the headlights, and it stopped and turned and looked at them, and then it ran off. But yeah, I don't mess with it. These cryptids are really, we have no idea what kind of personalities they have. There's good and bad and everything, of course, but we don't have enough information on some of these new hybrids that are getting dropped down. So just please be careful and cautious with them. Curiosity killed the cat, and it's not worth your life to find out what it is. There's so many. it's just gotten out of hand. It really has. We had heard a few years ago that this was going to happen, that the ETs were just going to create more and more and more and put them here. And I think that's probably what this is. If not, the only other option would be from the government. These are not natural. I mean, this is not something that was already here.
Wow. What do they look like?
Well, like I said,
Let me follow that up with, are they on 2 legs or 4 legs?
the two that I've referred to are on 4 legs, but there has been some very weird looking ones on 2 that are bipedal with various different heads. Nobody has seen them before. They don't, resemble what people like to call a rake, which I think is actually an ET, but whatever, name they want to use them. They don't look like that, but they're very tall. They're very lanky. Generally, you find these cryptids have some kind of an animal base to it. Whether I've seen one that looks like it had the head of a possum and a body of a man. So they're obviously out there. That one, it didn't do like a full attack. It did a paranormal attack, which is a little bit different. It's not quite as much in our physical world. And that was several years ago. But yeah, people they don't know what to call these things. And they really have no basis for it because we've not seen them before. But this shift has changed a lot of things for all of us. This is a spiritual war, yes, but it's all being fought on this plane. And we have got all kinds of cryptids we've never seen before. We've got the dimensionals, the elementals are out and about. The ETs are out. And anything that comes through those dimensions. So really the capabilities of what could come through a dimension or a portal, or even from another plane for that matter, is astronomical. Like when you go out in the woods, you really need to be careful right now.
Is that any woods or any certain areas?
No, this is a global thing. This is global. I've been aware of it since 2013, and the last 5 months I've been doing a lot with the Sasquatch with them, and working with people as far as the energy work to teach them what they could do to help. At this point, just pushing positive energy out in the atmosphere and the universe is the best you can do to help. It's going to take a while. This isn't going to be over very quickly. I think we're in for a long haul with it. But yeah, this next few days, if anybody's experiencing a lot of, feeling like things are just off, or either really bad, really good, mood swings, that type of thing. And there are people that are getting attacked by this stuff. I've been fielding phone, and actually I'm in Tennessee right now instead of South Carolina because it was not safe to stay at my own home. I have a grandchild there with her parents staying, and we had been attacked a few days prior. So I decided if I was going to work on this and deal with it, I was going to go to Tennessee to do it. So I'm in Tennessee, and then I'll be changing locations for the next few days quite a bit.
Wow. Why do you think they're coming after you?
Well, I don't think I'm the only one they're coming after. There's been multitude of people that are just minding their own business, but are energy workers that have been attacked. So these are all from paranormal entities and the AI. This is not, from the cryptids. The cryptids are on our team right now. And it's really amazing to me because when this shift started, all the cryptids have band together, even the ones that don't get along, to do this. We've got to go into a higher frequency and energy. We absolutely have to, because the planet has moved that direction now. And, there's all these things that are going on in wars and everything that are out there. And those are all a distraction for what's going on behind the scenes. And this is it. This has been coming for a very long time. We all need to get right with ourselves, and we need to move into that higher frequency and energy. So hopefully this will help.
Okay. I hope that helps you out. How do you protect yourself from something like this?
I do energy work and light work. So for myself, that's really my basis. I know how to move energy, how to throw energy, how to do various things with it. And I teach that to people. They find me on my website or on your show or wherever. And that's what I do for protection. And then God's right there to help. So it makes it kind of nice. But, this particular entity has been coming after me my whole life. So it's not like I'm new to it. The cryptids came to me and just, as well as other people. Please don't ever think that this is just a me thing, because it's certainly not. There's been thousands of people that have been called in to help with this. And so for me, the reason they're after me is just because, I work for the greater good, work for the good guys. And the bad stuff doesn't like that. And that unfortunately happens with a lot of people. I'm not the only one. So I've been aware of this since 2013, and they've been kind of working with me on what they wanted done. And then 5 months ago, they said, okay, guess what? It's now. So I've been kind of behind the scenes coordinating people and getting people organized for the big shift. And it went off flawlessly. Everybody did a great job. For anybody out there that's listening that did help with the energy work, thank you so much. It was very much appreciated. Doesn't mean it's going to be an easy ride. So, like I said, if anybody notices an activity in entities or anything else, that's probably what's causing it. And there have been a lot of people that were attacked. Nobody's been hurt severely or anything like that, but it's so frightening and, bothersome. Got a couple bruises from it, but, it'll be okay. Like I said, I just decided it was safer for my daughter, her husband, and my grandchild and my other grandkids if I just got away from the house for a few days, and so I've been keeping an eye on things by phone. So we've got a lot of people that are on this team and are doing a great job. It's like I said, I am one of many. I'm not the only one. I, help coordinate maybe a little bit, teach some energy work. Yeah, but I'm not the only one. But it's a global thing. This is not a certain location. This is a global thing. I asked one of the cryptids, how long was this going to take? And one of them said 2 years, and another one said, no, it probably won't take that long because, good always wins over evil. So I don't know. I wish I had more answers than I do questions, but I don't. But it's supposed to help us into the higher frequency and the higher energy that's needed to sustain this planet. And it's also going to be a spiritual war.
Wow, that almost sounds like Armageddon.
Yeah. Well, we are not at end times. I know a lot of people think we are, but we are not. We are in a global reset. According to the cryptids, that's what I'm told. Do I know for sure? Of course I don't know for sure. I get my information from them. So yeah, hopefully we're on to bigger and better things. This whole shift started out where they were going to do this because our people haven't done it. We haven't, brought our frequency up. Some of us are at 5D. That's great, but not all of us. And they were going to do this, and that will create an imbalance for our people. So that's why, it was so important that we get as many energy workers and light workers that we can and move them forward and get them outside, start moving that energy. 90% of my clients are doing it, do a fabulous job. Could not be prouder of them. And a lot of people are doing what they need to do. So, I think it'll be okay. It's just, we've got to ride it out.
We got 90 seconds to go here. How will someone know if they're having this issue?
You're going to feel the difference. You're going to feel the energy. I mean, that's what it's all about. Is the frequency and the energy. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel, like things just aren't right. Things are not sitting the way they should, or like that, proverbial, the shoe's going to fall. Other shoe's going to fall. You're going to be, your balance could be off. You could have mood swings, just a change in what you emotionally normally would. 90% of people will not even feel it. And that's a great thing. That means that everybody that's working on it is doing what we need to do. So that's a really good thing. And that's our goal, is that nobody's going to feel it, other than we're just going to go into higher frequency and energy. But there's some people that are just really super intuitive, which is a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, in this case, they're going to pick up a lot of it. But we have had a lot of people today that have, had paranormal attacks. Nobody has been injured other than, frightened, feeling miserable, and feeling kind of icky, and a few bruises here and there.
Well, I hope it doesn't get too ugly.
No, it's going to be fine. It will be fine. I have complete faith in it, and I was very much surprised the government at one point in time even made a statement about it. I did it on World Bigfoot Central, and then 12 days later, the government came out and announced it. So I don't know what they thought they were doing at that point. But I've talked about it on some other shows as well. The churches are involved. Various Catholic churches were very well aware that there was a huge shift coming, although they didn't know about the cryptids, but they did know about that and, some of the forces that were playing with it. So it'll be good.
Robin McCrae, we'll talk to you next week for the Cryptid Report, my friend. Thank you.
Sounds great. And I can't wait to see you.
Can't wait either. Robin McCrae, or make that Robin Haynes, everybody. And we'll be right back with our final break because it's Dave 101 time right after this. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after the break. Great job, Robin.
Oh, thanks. Good to see you. I'm so sorry I missed your call the other night. I had to go. I went to bed really early because I had an early morning appointment. Otherwise, I would have gladly helped you.
No worries, my dear. No worries.
All right. Well, I love you.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Robin Haynes. Robin Haynes. She's awesome. She is awesome. Awesome. So, here we go. We have got the news ready. Got all of you here. Hi, Paisley Parker. I could try and find someone to do a show on the Mandela Effect. Nicole Sakic. Yeah, where have you been, Dogface Simon? You've been hiding on us. You just vanished. It's good to have you here. Good to have you here. Lost Souls trilogy. Remember the Cars song? Hello. Hello again. That was a good tune. Remember when the Cars, like in 1984, they were just rocking. They had that one power album with You Might Think and Hello or Hello Again, and I think a few more songs. Pixie Lara. I can try and bring that back. Let me see what I can do for you tonight. Mm-hmm. I'll message Brian here. Hold on. I just messaged Brian Stavely. See if he'll come on to talk Mandela Effect soon. Mm-hmm. Oob. Says he doesn't like kokanee beer. Oh, I hope you trip on your big toenails. Mentira, mentira. All I hear is silence, my brothers. Sweet Tony D. There's a song there. somewhere. You said it. Said it was not your favorite. It's the same thing. Thank you to Human Carl, W. David Page, Dutch Hank, Dragonfly, and T-Bone times 2 for that great super chats tonight. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Don't forget about our swag as well, everyone, because we got great swag at our store. Here we go. Welcome back to the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate having you here, tuning us on in. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. It is that time of the night where I yell at all the kids to get off my lawn, as it's a Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
All right, much like all of you, I have had time to kind of feel my emotions over the Arrow report by the former head of the Arrow program, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. I'm so sick of hearing his name, seeing his name, saying his name, and even typing out his name. You know, that report that came out by the Arrow director, who is no longer the director as of December 31st, this was his final report, it really said something to me. It actually said a lot. Now, there are those who believe in the government system who will praise this report, saying that nothing was really ever proven, nothing was ever there, there was no evidence. Well, I tend to disagree. If we are to believe that nothing happened, why are so many people standing up against Sean Kirkpatrick and saying, we tried to talk to them, we tried to talk to Arrow, we tried to email or phone Kirkpatrick with little to no results of a return phone call or reply on email? I've talked to whistleblowers who are very dumbfounded by exactly what this was said. In fact, I talked to a couple people earlier today regarding this same situation. And I'm not going to give their names, but I am going to say what their thoughts are. Okay? One person said to me, the Arrow report does not impact the pro-disclosure proponents in the DOD or IC. The existing laws on the books adequately protected the disclosure projects to be released. And there will be many more others coming forward, armed with DOD, DOPSR, or CIA PCRB approval. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick and Arrow have dug deeper holes for themselves. I had another person who is highly connected, when I asked the same question, said, in general, nobody's buying it, but it appears that Sean will be continuing his media blitz. There are many good folks who know the truth and are making it known how awful, childish, and inaccurate this report was. The one thing that we do know is this. We saw the shutting of the water taps on the UFO story start to happen in 2013. We cannot deny that the biggest run on the water to send it to a slow drip was the United States Navy, who, at least for a period of time, was confirming that the videos that were released were actually UFOs. Okay? We had that. And then it's like somebody slapped their hand and said, "What are you doing?" Because all of a sudden the Navy came out with a statement saying they were no longer going to play in the UFO game. There was not going to be any more confirmation of any videos that leaked out. They weren't going to provide any new videos, new evidence. Basically, they took their ball and they went home. And they joined the rest of their military teams, the Marines, the Coast Guard, the U.S. Army, Space Force, and the United States Air Force in not talking about this subject. That was eye-opening for me, and we mentioned that many times on this show, that this was a change that we were seeing as they are trying to close the door on the disclosure movement. And this is when we started really pressing the picture that we are in a confirmation time, not a disclosure time. There is a big difference between the two, which I'm sure both of you listening, yeah, there's only two of you, I'm teasing on that, who will actually agree with that. All right. Yes, you are free to make any decision you want, but the majority of people out there are not happy. They feel that they've been let down by their government in the United States and that the military has forgotten who they're actually protecting. They're supposed to protect the citizens of the United States of America, both here and abroad. However, in this case, when it comes to technology advancements, when it comes to potential crash retrievals of UFOs and non-human intelligence, yeah, let's just push that to the side. We'll tell the American public what they can and cannot see, hear, or think. It's a dangerous precedence for the Republic. And if this was any other topic other than UFOs, I'm pretty sure that the mainstream media would be all over this story like a dirty shirt. They would be all over this night after night in newscasts, on radio shows, on newspaper articles from the largest papers in America, the Chicago Tribune, the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times. Okay, everybody would be covering this story if it wasn't about UFOs. But because it is, and the Pentagon spokespeople know that, from Susan Goff right down to her lowly janitor, they know that they are in control of the media on this subject right now. They know that the mainstream media is not going to run the press on it that it deserves. They know that they have found their safe spot from the eyes of the public, right in front of the public eyes. Yes, that actually does make sense. Where do we go from here? That's the answer. Nobody really seems to know. We don't know about it. We want to know. We want to see where this is going to end up. And we have every right to deserve an answer to that. The people who have experienced the ultimate phenomena, being taken by aliens or seeing UFOs up close and personal, they know that this was a slap in the face. That's already easy. It's all over social media. It is out there. The question is, how is everyone else going to react? Because since this became a political topic, we now, as the world public, not just the American public, the world public has to start putting the pressure on Congress people like Matt Gaetz, like Anna Luna, like Tim Burchett, and others who have played in the UFO pond to actually start coming out with not only stories, but evidence and protecting those who want to whistleblow on this subject. The reason why we haven't seen more David Grushes out there is because the protection is not stable. A nuclear isotope is more unstable or less unstable than the whistleblower protection. Let's just be honest about that. They want to come out. There are people out there who want to talk to you and I, explain what they've saw, explain what they've covered up, explain why they covered things up. They want to tell all in order to get the message out that we are not alone in this universe. But they're not allowed. Offering protection is a very double-edged sword. And they can't come out and just speak. Like everybody's like, well, just come on out. Just come on out. No, there's a lot of things that are scary about this. Number one is their safety and their family's safety. Number two, what about their careers or people who've spent 30 plus years within the government agencies? They have pensions to think of. They don't need those wiped out. They don't need to be going to prison for treason or something else. They don't want that. They need the protection in order to speak. If they can't get the protection, they can't speak. It is that simple. Sure, they can leak information, and I'm sure there have been some that do. But for the most part, many of the whistleblowers, from what I am told, are muzzling up. And it isn't by choice. It's about safety. And there's safety in numbers. You see, the one thing that I have learned about all of this is that the government does not want this subject out. The companies, the private companies, and the warfare people, whether it's Boeing, whether it's Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, Abrams, you name it. No, I think Abrams is a tank. Pardon me on that. It is a tank. I know that. Fairchild, many others. Okay. What they want is they want the technology. They want to own that technology because they own that technology. They perfect that technology. What do they get for that technology? Money. And not a small amount. We're not talking a couple $100 million here. We are talking billions. Multi-billions of dollars. This is why the military-industrial complex does not want this coming out. There's a lot of reasons to it. You don't have to believe it. You really don't. But what you need to do is realize there's always more to the story. Are you reading between the lines as to what the real story is? And through this year, yes, it may be a punch in the gut. We may have lost the battle so far, but we haven't lost the war for disclosure and confirmation. There are people working very hard behind the scenes to try and turn it around. And not every alphabet agent is against disclosure. We have to remember that. So when we say the CIA or the NSA or NRO, FBI, or the military agencies, there are people within the inside who are fighting for the right to knowledge. Knowledge of knowing whether or not we are alone in this universe, whether we are alone from time travelers or, as we suspect, interdimensional beings. It's a tough subject. Many people are not going to like it. We've said that many a time on the show. And we have to be prepared for that. Maybe that's the whole answer. See, I don't buy the government when they say, we don't really know where it's going or where this is coming from. They've figured it out. You know they've figured it out. And they've probably had contact along with it. Don't kid yourself. This is going on. You talk to the right people, they're going to tell you what's going on. Who would have thought prior to 2017, when the New York Times article came out, that we would actually have UFO espionage going on in this world? It sounds crazy. It sounds unbelievable. It sounds right out of a Tom Clancy novel. But in the end, that is what we are seeing. UFO espionage. There are many people over the next number of months who are going to use that espionage and say, see, we told you there was no evidence. See, there is no evidence. This person's lying. That person isn't telling the truth. You know, give a kid a rope, he'll want to be a cowboy. Give him a beer, and he'll be married soon. But the idea behind it is there's two sides to every story. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick is not the end-all or be-all of this story. Yes, he's made himself a part of it. He knew what he was doing. And as Science Bob said just yesterday, that Kirkpatrick does have his handlers that he has to answer to. And that can be a lot of pressure for one person. Whether he believes or not, we don't know. We can think that he believes in UFOs. Look at the article that Avi Loeb from Harvard University leaked that was not supposed to be leaked to the public. That talked about UFOs being here, the size of the craft, what they were doing. Yet here we are. So keep your minds fresh. Keep them open. If you're a fan of UFOs and believe that we do have crash retrievals and evidence of non-human life, okay, stick with your guns because the war still continues as we prepare for another battle. And that is your Dave 101. Here's the news.
What time is it?
It's time for Shirky Poo's news!
All right, let's get right to it. A creepy doll that spooked shoppers after it went on display in an Edinburgh charity shop has been snapped up by a celebrity psychic. Deborah Davies, star of Unexplained, caught on camera, has added Annabelle to her collection of around 60 haunted dolls. Ms. Davies paid £220 in total for the toy, which has been sent from St. Columbia's Hospice charity shop in Morningside to her home in Cheshire. The former Real Housewives of Cheshire star says, I'll have CCTV cameras on it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And for now, I'll keep it at my home, which is breaking my own rules. I keep the rest of my collection a few miles away, as many of them were sent to me by followers following serious poltergeist activity. A picture of Annabelle went viral after the Ashton Drake Gallery's doll was displayed in a store window with a note saying, I am not creepy. Well, that's just creepy right there. Somebody says they felt the doll's eyes were following them. Simone Varga, St. Columbia's hospice charity shop manager, said a former volunteer donated the doll as she was moving away from Edinburgh. Ms. Varga said when she opened the box, she was taken aback by how lifelike the doll looked. When I took it out and saw the legs and all that, I was like, these do look like human legs to me. It had little shoes on, which was quite creepy, and the white bits on the nails. And the feel of it, it's a plastic, but a very funny kind of plastic, a rubbery plastic. It went viral after somebody said they felt the doll's eyes were following them when they walked past the shop window, and then that was it. All right, let's move on to our next story here. Remember the monoliths from a couple years ago? Well, apparently they're back. A mysterious silver monolith has been found on a Welsh hillside, evoking memories of similar structures that appeared around the world in 2020. Richard Haynes says he was out for a run on Hay Bluff near Hay-on-Wye, Powys, when he came across the 10-foot tall monolith. I thought it looked a bit bizarre and might be a scientific media research thing collecting rainwater, Haynes said. But then the reality kicked in, and I realized it was way too tall and strange for that. Then I went up to it. It was about 10 feet tall at least and triangular, definitely stainless steel. It was hollow, and I imagine pretty light. Light enough for two people to carry it up and plant it in the ground. The column is similar to a monolith discovered in a southwest Utah desert in 2020. The monolith was followed by further discoveries in locations including California, Texas, Florida, Wisconsin, Romania, and England's Isle of Wight. An anonymous art collective called The Most Famous Artists later took credit for several of the US-based monoliths. No one has come forward to claim responsibility for this latest one, though. That's all we need is more monoliths. You know, anytime I can throw a hockey story in here, I'm definitely going to. Fans will have to settle for a voucher for a future redemption of Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. Why? Well, more than 18,000 of the mullet top figurines were stolen during a shipment in California, the Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL said. We were shocked to be a victim of cargo theft, and we are working closely with local and federal authorities on the investigation. Penguins president of business operations, Kevin Acklin, said in a news release, while this is an unfortunate incident, it adds to the legend of Jaromir Jagr, who will be in attendance as our guest at tonight's game. We look forward to resolving this with this theft and delivering the prize Jagr bobbleheads to their rightful homes with our fans. The bobbleheads were to be distributed before the Penguins host the San Jose Sharks in Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah. Now fans who attend a game will receive vouchers that they can use to pick up the bobbleheads at a later date. The Penguins said an investigation into the bobblehead theft remains open. All right, we'll continue on here. New Orleans Police Department officials say the rats infesting the department's headquarters are all high from eating marijuana stored in evidence rooms. Police Superintendent Ann Patrick told the City Council's Criminal Justice Committee the building is infested with cockroaches and rats, and the rodents in particular seem to be having a good time destroying the evidence. The rats eat our marijuana. They're all high, Kirkpatrick told the committee during a week's visit or this week's meeting. Kirkpatrick spoke in support of a $7.6 million proposal to temporarily relocate police headquarters to a leased space in downtown for 10 years while exploring permanent solutions to the current building's numerous issues, which are apparently not just limited to pests. Oh, can you imagine going to work every day and seeing rats? It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Want to say a big thank you tonight to everybody tuning us in and having a great show. This is Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We will talk to you very, very soon. Good night. All right. There we go. Now I get to do some editing. Let us edit. Oh, why is everything so blurry? Is that my glasses? No, that's blurry. That's clear. All right. All right. Give us a scoop on what? On what? What is it you ask for? What is it you ask for? All right. Let's download this show. Tomorrow night won't have any sidebar music in it either. I'm going to be cutting audio all weekend to make the show sound new and improved, shall we say, for Monday. Yeah. And that'll be good. So I'm going to go do some. Well, you guys want some animals tonight. Hold on. What the hell was it called? Oh, yeah. Let's go to Tao. What's happening at Tao? Oh, we don't need any. Gosh darn commercials here. Oh, no animals at Tao. Let's go to Rosie's Pan. Oh, we got elephants at Rosie's Pan. Hold on. Hold on. We'll bring you them elephants. Hold on. YouTube. There we go. Oh, I got to go to a big screen here. Hold on. Let's go here. There you go. Move the camera over, damn it. Move the camera over. Jessica Davenport does rock. In and out of every single show. She gets her horns up. Mm-hmm. She does. Pixie Lara, you wanted elephants. There you go. Look at those beautiful creatures. Hey, they moved the log. I said the elephants just drop their deuce right in the water too, eh? Hi, I'm an elephant. I'm going to drop my deuce right in the water. Because I don't care. What kind of chores are you going to do there, Juliana? A little bit of vacuuming? Dusting of the ceiling fan? I'm curious. Don't be teasing us with chores being done. I think that's going to be it. Half hour. Stay tuned, everybody. Yeah, that's the one. You damn elephants better not leave. Pixie Laura is going to be some pissed at you if they do. Really? And welcome back to the second half. Continues hour number 2 next. My name is Dave. Good. That's a big elephant, man. Big elephant. Where are they going? Move the camera over. Wow, that's quite the farm, Juliana. How many acres do you have? Is that elephant kind of hanging out there? Right at the bottom corner here?
go back and look at all of the footage and be like,
She was saying that that was an aha moment for us about the dust.
And welcome back to Space. Where did that end? Probably right there. Control of what's happening in our own home. Nope, that ain't it. Undo that. Your host with the most tin. God, I hate the fact that the music's not in there. You don't understand how hard it makes my job. All right. Well, Rosie's pan seems dead. Let's head on over to Serengeti. Anything happening there? Oh, we got a giraffe. Where else can we go? Hold on, let me look here. Let's go to Namibia. I want the ostriches. I like the ostriches. Nothing there. 29.3 degrees Celsius. Oh, that's a warm day. Warm day. Let's go here. Let's try this watering hole. See what's happening here. What the hell we got here? Boy, they're zooming in tight here. Oh, those are kudu. Very cool. We'll watch the kudu for a bit. Kudu are spelled Kudu. Look at all of them. Yeah, kudu are the second largest antelope or creature in the antelope family. Hello and welcome to Space. We got the start with Steve Stockton. Then Robin Haynes will be here for the Cryptid Report. Spaced Out Radio continues with the final hour right after this. Pronghorns, I believe, are the fastest animal in North America. What's their speed? What is a pronghorn's speed? It can run 60 miles an hour. A pronghorn can. They can jump like anything, too. Hi, Flat Six. How you doing? Hey, guys, remember you have until April 12th to get your And welcome back to hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio.
Sorry, I missed your call the other night.
See you next week for the Cryptid Report, my friend. Thank you.
Sounds great. And I
Right after this. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after the break. Rock and Rory and Flat 6. Good to have you guys here. All right. This one's boring. Let's try and find something else here. Anything in the Kalahari? Nothing. There's nothing ever here. Boring place. Let's go to Tembe. The Elephant Sanctuary. What do we have in here? Kambaku, anything? Nope. The Lady Dam. Apparently we got an ad. Nope. Nothing. Oliphant's River. It's usually good. Hopefully we get a crocodile or something. Well, these are just highlights. Look at that guy. All right. This theft and delivering the prize Yeager bobbleheads to their rightless. Want to say a big every day and seeing rat building's numerous issues, which are apparently not just limited to pests. Oh, could you imagine going to work every day and seeing rats? It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Want to say a big thank you tonight to everybody tuning us in. Want to say a big thank you. 2 seconds, everybody. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother as well. Oh, what a great edit, Dave. Great edit. Welcome back to the final half hour of Space. Look at the size of that. Even he's saying, good edit, Dave. See? Just waved at us. How you doing? SOR, you rock. I'm rocking out with my trunk out. Good girl. Monkeys. All right, everybody, I'm going to shut that down because it's time for me to say good night. Big thank you to our guests tonight, and thank you to W. David Page, T-Bone ×2, Dutch Hank, Dragonfly, and Human Carl for the great super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support. And tomorrow night on the show, we will be talking with Carol Obley, Wisdom from the Spirit World. Oh, more ghost talk tomorrow night. Come join us, will you? Tell a friend. And don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Hi, Charlie, don't surf. And enjoy your night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.